socket installation here that I am demonstrating, we have this section here from the consumer unit, as you can see. Now, having a 12-way consumer unit is very important because you can accommodate a lot of devices, for instance, from the first one all the way to the last one. But I want us to take a lot of notice on what I have already done on my board. We have this pipework installation or conduit layout. This conduit layout finds its major application when it comes to building a home or probably constructing a business premise. Now, from this section at the consumer unit, we have that conduit supplying all the way to this twin box or twin switch box. Then it feeds to that single switch box. It goes all the way to that single switch box, and then it goes back to the consumer unit. That is basically a ring circuit, what you can see on that part of the consumer unit. But again, we have an important or an interesting wiring for sockets, which is referred to as radio. Radio will only come from the consumer unit, flow like so to the first socket, and then the first socket will definitely feed the second, and then the second feeds the third. So that one is referred to as a radio circuit installation. Now, there is another interesting part. If, for instance, we want to introduce something here in a ring, so have another box just below this one, that one is referred to as what? Top box. I already can see you streaming live with me. Thank you so much. Let me know where you're streaming from. We will also be talking about the advantages of having twin sockets, all right, and how we will be connecting them. We'll also be discussing, the point of connection and how these two get their connection, of course, from the power or the cables that we'll be using. What is the difference with this one that is here? We will also be seeing at the back of it and discuss further. Now, when it comes to these boxes, my top boss will talk about a different type, like this one. We'll just touch on it, but again, we will also go deep into why is this one important, or is it better than having the plastic one, or are they just the same? Again, on that, we will also be discussing this, which is not any different from that. But again, when it comes to earthing, there is something that I'll be able to demonstrate to you. Now, while using cables in this type of installation, are we using this type of cables? And first of all, what is the name given to these cables? Or are we using this other one? Hmm? Look at that difference. They are the same size cables, right? And we also have these ones. If you are streaming from a different country from Kenya, what do you refer to them? For instance, this one, the correct name, according to us here in Kenya, is a twin with earth 2.5 cable. There is the earth connection there in the middle. Don't know whether I'll be able to clearly show it to you. All right. So there's the earth connection in the middle. We have the red and the black. Red for phase connection, black for the neutral or the return. But in other countries, they normally call it, refer to it as a different name. We have these ones, the red. And another important thing also to note for this connection, as you can see, we have already introduced earth connection. So it goes without saying that we must have these three cables going all the way from the consumer unit to all these connections that I have here. So that is basically what I am doing, my top boss. An important tool that I will be using is definitely this. Look at that. So this one is a stripper, wire stripper, cable stripper. You can see it as all the gauges. If I need 10, 6, 4.0, 2.5, 1.5, and so on and so forth, it will come in handy. Another important thing, we will also be using ferrules. Ferrules will help us in connecting the cables to this consumer unit, especially at this point where we will be having our cables from whichever connection, be it ring, be it radio, and we'll definitely be seeing how to apply this important tool in that connection. This is what is referred to as a crimping tool, Ferrous crimping tool. Now, my top boss, if you're geared up for this session, kindly smash that like button. Let me also know, where are you streaming from, my top boss? Are you excited for our tonight's session? And I want to know whether it is making sense to you having this session at this particular moment, my top boss. And if you are with me, I will really, really appreciate. So it is a quick one. We will be doing a lot, but also remember that this video is here to stay, and you can check it out as much as you want or as much as you wish, because it won't be deleted. So we will be enjoying the video as time progresses, my top boss. All right. So the most important thing, let me first of all grab my pliers. Let me also grab my another important tool here, which is definitely a screwdriver. I will be using it a lot, right? And then before we activate our, our circuit here, we will also be testing a lot of things. First of all is the continuity test, because when it comes to electrical installations, you want to be sure that everything is working well. You want to be sure that your connections are perfectly done, even before you put or you switch on that electricity, my top boss. Now, it is going to be very important for us to do that, so that in case you are in the field working, you first of all ensure that everything is working proper. In fact, there are some instances whereby you'll be working and your client is there. Okay, your client is there and wants to know, does this person know what he's doing, or he's just interested, wants to just know, how are things working. And so now, if at all you just switch on the electricity and you have not tested anything, then it is going to be a lot of trouble for you, because you must be encountering a lot of problems at that particular point, if at all. Once you switch it on, and then there is a short circuit that you had not detected, and then there is a loud bang, the normal loud, not the normal, the loud bang when you have made a mistake when it comes to electrical, that one. So you don't want that. So you must ensure that you have this. But again, I'll be guiding you through how do we make use of it, and how is it important, my top boss. So glad to see you and so many of you at this hour, and I really do appreciate. This is a very important, should I call it instrument? Should I call it tool? I don't know. But in my country, we refer to it as a steel tape, you know. Other countries, I know they have a different name. So I don't know in your country what is the name that you refer to this important feature, especially when it comes to wiring. And this is a very important one, especially once you are done with this pipe work or the conduit installation. You definitely require to have it, because it will help you to draw the cables. Other countries will refer to it as a draw wire. Other countries will refer to it as a fishing tape. All of those names mean a lot, but again, the most important thing is to know how to use it. Any tool, any tool, it is very, very important for us to understand how to. And first of all, before we go further, let me also take this opportunity to introduce myself. My name is John Gatehi, and this is Top Heights Electricals and Electricians. And I'm so glad that you, my top boss, have found time out of your busy schedule to join me in this live stream. It is always an honor when I interact with people online through comment sections. When you like my content, I really do appreciate, even when we interact on the DMs as well as when we interact on one-on-one. For instance, today I met two top bosses while I was doing some shopping, and it means a lot to me. I really appreciate. So thank you so much. Welcome to this live stream. So without much further ado, let us start wiring. So we will definitely start wiring. We can start with the ring, go all the way to the radio, or we can simply start with the radio. So let me just adjust my camera so that I'm able to demonstrate to you what we are having. So that is basically what we are dealing with. So from this point here, remember radio is like a one-way connection, from the source, which is now the consumer unit. It goes all the way to the first socket, and then the first socket loops that cable to the second socket, and then like so, and then like so. So now let us get started, my top boss. If you are just joining in, thank you so much. We are happy to have you and to have your company. Now if you are interested in what we are doing, my top boss, I maybe be right that you are either an electrical technician, or probably this is something that excites you. So if that is the case, then you are in the right place. I have a lot of top bosses who are in the banking sector. Others are in the interior design sector. I have people who are also in the forces. I also have police who are my top bosses. They follow me and they appreciate my work. They say that, you know what, I wanted also to pursue electrical, but due to one or two reasons, I couldn't, and I found myself doing what I am doing right now. And there is no harm in that, completely, my top boss. But if this is something that you're pursuing, you're passionate about it, you love it like I do, my top boss, then I bet you will do everything possible, to ensure that you are here. Now, because I've been used to stripping with the pliers, that is what I'm doing. Instead of using this cable stripper which I just got the other day. Simply, if I want, for instance, this one, I can see some strands are compromised. I simply go ahead and first of all cut. Some of these strands are compromised. So that one I've just stripped with the pliers. But again, I'm using a 2.5. So simply, I will have to run to, to this particular point here, and then easy peasy, like so. No. So my strands are not compromised, as you can see, not compromised. I've stripped them well. When you go to the neutral, try and do the same. Okay. Like so, still not compromised. So there we have it. We have the neutral, we have the earth connection, we have the face. So in my country, we use red. For instance, when it comes to single phase installation, we use red. We use black, that is the neutral. Other countries, I understand they may use blue. And then we also use green with yellow stripes, or if you may refer to it as yellow with green stripes. Now, when it comes to using the steel tape, this is where the correct application comes in. I already did the videos on pipe work or the conduit layout, the one I've done on our TikTok live. We also have sessions on our TikTok account, and I always enjoy doing it over there. And Also here on YouTube is another space where I love doing these sessions. But if you are not aware of my TikTok channel, my top boss, the name is still the same, which is Top Heights Electricians. You know, that is the best channel. So we will have our steel tape from here all the way to the consumer unit. You may be wondering, John, this steel tape is a good conductor of electricity. Now, if it gets in contact at this point and you are drawing cables here and you are in contact with it, may you be electrocuted? But remember, this main switch or the DPMCB is off, clearly meaning that even the power is off. So there is no connection of power to the that particular point. Now, that's said and done. What we need to do now is to ensure that we attach, we have these cables correctly connected at this point. I'm only doing this so that if, for instance, you're a beginner, because that is the majority of my followers, beginner electrical technicians, you can be able to see a step by step of what happens, while in the field. So why I am doing that instead of just, throwing cables inside this, so that you may be able to, you know, learn a thing or two on what usually happens. So what we normally do is to ensure that we separate, you have these cables in a staircase form, so that you will not have a struggle while you are fishing them. Because remember, if at all you just put them at one particular instance like that, if at all you have a sharp corner or a sharp bend that you want to negotiate, it will be tougher for you. So what we do is to ensure that that is what you connect it like so, and then you just space them like that, and then you will find a way to, now, like for instance, this one is coming out, my steel tape is a bit older, so I'll simply do that and then use an insulating tape. I don't know whether it is visible for you. So using an insulating tape is just to ensure that all these cables, let me just try and bring it closer. So what I was saying is to ensure that these cables are, not jacked up in a single place. So another idea is to use, the best idea is to definitely use this end. We also have this end here. Can you use that particular end and it will make your work easier. So once you have the cables attached at this point, you simply fish your cables. But I do trust that you have understood on that point. If you are in the field and you are trying to, get all these cables at once through that conduit, simply do that. I'll also be demonstrating to you that there are incidences whereby you even need to use oil, so you'll have to apply oil or is it fat you apply in this area, depending on what you use, you apply here, so that negotiating corners, it will be easier for you. And then at this point here, you simply pull. And so if you have a friend of yours, assuming this one is a longer distance, you have a friend of yours who is assisting you on the other end. Probably this one is at the consumer unit, and then here you have this socket at the sitting room. So you communicate. He pulls, you push. He pulls, you push. So that to make work easier. As physicists, we ensure that that is our core business, to make work easier. So you assist in directing the cable to that conduit. So you also help by applying pressure. So you push, and then on the other end, your friend pulls. Push and pull. Push and pull will definitely give that result. Now, another important thing to note, as you know, I've been emphasizing, is to ensure that you give it a good allowance before you can cut at this point. So once you have given it a good allowance at the socket level, it is also wise of you to give a good allowance at the consumer unit. You may be wondering, John, why allow that? Uh, why give that allowance? It's simply because you never know, in future there could be replacement of, a socket, or probably some repairs that are going on either in the consumer unit, or probably a socket is being replaced, and there could be a very high chance that someone will cut those strands, so the cable over time reduces. Assuming that the cable that was used was high quality, therefore it means that it is going to be very durable. So reducing its size will definitely be compromising on the use. So I cut it. And remember, each and every one will have, for instance, this one only has to come to a particular MCB here. So we'll have that. But you cannot, again, uh, say that I want them to be the same size with the neutral. Remember, the neutral has to take a longer journey all the way to this neutral bus, because this is where we'll be connecting our our neutral. So it will have to go all the way up here, and remember, it's coming from here, so you give it an allowance. So that is what we are going to do. We ensure that it will go all the way. So making good use of the consumer unit has enough room. You even give it up to the end before you can actually cut, so that we are sure that it has a lot of room. You better even fold it inside. The consumer has enough room. Then for the earth connection, it can either come this side or come this side. Remember, as an electrical technician, you are a designer. So it is up to you to again decide where or which is the longest or the shortest route, and why would you prefer that. So for me, I'll go with the longest, so that even if the worst came to worst, that you had to really reduce the cable in future due to maintenance work, you can even opt for the shorter route. All right. Now, that said and done, we have already connected from the first socket to the consumer unit. Now we go to the second socket, and definitely the third. Now I will not be using a draw wire this time, because I've already demonstrated to you how a draw wire works under that circumstance, and that is the most important thing. Now from here we now connect to the second socket. What you may notice is that my second socket is a single socket connection, as well as the third. The third is also a single socket. I have a twin socket here. When it comes to this particular point, that is the same case. But I will be introducing a very important feature in the ring circuit connection, a socket here, which has a different name. I don't know what name you give in your country, my top boss. That is a very interesting thing for us to do. So if we are together in this, let me see your like, my top boss. Smash that like button so that I know we are together. Also, together. That is a new term from John. So now, allow me not to use the steel tape, but because it is a short distance, I will simply draw the cables in. But if, for instance, you are talking about different rooms, or the same rooms where you must ensure that you connect your steel tape, my top boss, don't strain yourself, simply have that. Now, again, when it comes to this point, we give it an allowance as well as at this point, so that our socket, we give room for future repairs, so they can be the same size. So that is what we have. This is at the wiring stage. Wiring stage is simply ensuring that the cables go through all of those conduits If it is a wiring for lighting, go through the conduits, the JBs, the junction boxes, as well as the switch boxes. This is a stage of wiring where we are wiring the sockets. And if you have just joined us, we have said that we are wiring the radio connection as well as the ring circuit wiring. The ring circuit is whereby the power will come from the source, which is the consumer unit, go all the way to the first socket, second socket, third socket. It doesn't end here. It will then go all the way back to the consumer unit. There are so many advantages of this kind of setup. We'll be talking about that. There are also some advantages with this. I will also be sharing about the limitations when it comes to those particular sets of wiring that you will not want to miss. So stick with me till the end, and I'm pretty sure that by the end of this video, my top boss, we will have learned something together, right? And I just want to show some love to everyone who, is taking his time to consume my content, watch me, and above all, reacting. You react by way of liking, you comment. I really do appreciate our tool. Our top tool of the day is this one. It can cut cables, it can as well strip. And what you are seeing here is what enables us to strip different sizes of cables. I have my top bosses who have already shared something. I have Yusuf Leon. We are watching this side of Bugema, all the way from Uganda. Huh? Awesome, my top boss. Thank you, Bugema, all the way from Uganda. And I also have my top boss, uh, uh, Kusi. Kusi says streaming from Ghana. Thank you so much. Yusuf Leon, definitely from Uganda. Mohammed Mahat says, watching from Garissa, Kenya. Sir, I want to learn from the best. May I join you as an attaché after my class? At the moment, you are not offering attachment or internships. Sorry for that. Jackie's Otunga says, hi, I am watching live from Nairobi, Kenya. Thank you so much, Nairobians, and generally Kenyans have really been a part of this journey, and I really do appreciate it. Ronald says, sticking with you at Embakasi Imara Daima, appreciated that. Thank you so much. Ronald has also, shown a spotlight on my tool of the day. Says cable stripper with wire gauges. Absolutely. Suleiman Miner says watching from Dubai. What an incredible moment for me. I appreciate that. Trent says thanks our best teacher of the century. I'm Mohammed Kabuye. I'm watching from Uganda. Incredible. Then I have Hendrix. Cassandra says RK Zambia here. Amazing. Thank you so much. RK Zambia, I always see you. Is it on my TikTok? Yes, thank you so much. This man is doing great. We appreciate you, sir. That is from Dennis Mutike. Thank you. Idris says, Rwanda gather too. Thank you. I appreciate. Ibman says, hey, top boss, it's Ibman from Mombasa watching live. Wow. Thank you. Without wasting your time, my top boss, let me just share with you what we have already done. We have already completed the wiring for the radio connection. Radio connection, remember, or the radio circuit wiring for sockets starts from the consumer unit, goes to the first socket, it loops to the second socket, and then loops again to the third socket or the last socket, and that's it. When it comes to the ring circuit, it is a different story. Yeah, Cassandra says yes from TikTok. Thank you so much. And then I have Miklia says join from Namibia. Thank you so much. Yes, so this is what we have. I don't know what you prefer me doing. Would you want me to first of all be done with this ring, or do we go to, I mean with this radio, or do we go to wiring the ring so that we can start, you know, connecting all of those sockets? Which one would you prefer? Do you just do the whole wiring first, or would you like me to be done with the ring, with the radio? I don't know. I keep confusing the two. Be done with the radio, and then we go to the ring. You know, you're my top boss, and your wish is my command. Definitely. If you want me to connect, I'll connect this part that I've already wired, which is a radio connection. Connect it to the consumer unit, dedicate it to the correct MCB, do the correct tests, you know, with the multimeter, and then connect the sockets. And then once we are done, if time will still allow us, come this way. Or do you want us to wire these parts before we can start, you know, the fixing of the sockets and the likes? So let me see your reaction. I gained a lot since I started watching, and now I'm a good electrician in my region, and I wish I can learn more from you and give me jobs because I'm in Uganda. Awesome. Do your best in Uganda. Ensure that you provide value over there. Muhammad, right? So my top post, what is your take? Do we wire the ring section, or do we, you know? Thank you so much for the likes. I appreciate. I can see that. I see you're watching, but you're not only watching, but you're also interacting with this content. Solomon Miner says, great job. Thank you. So should I take that one as we first of all wire this? We connect it to the consumer unit. We wire the first socket, and then we go to the second socket, and finally the third, before we can come to the ring circuit if time allows. What is your suggestion, my top boss? Teach about the ring wiring. Yes, we'll get to the ring wiring. Wire the ring circuit. Nice one. That is from Idman. And then I also have Hendrik saying, teach about the ring. Awesome. Wire the rings first and then do the test. Awesome. Awesome. Thank you. Thank you for that feedback. It means a lot. So we are definitely going to do that. Because of time, wire the ring circuit, please. Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you for your feedback. So the ring circuit, this is what we are going to do. Again, for the ring, we are going to use this important cable here. We will use definitely the face. The face cable is a 2.5. That is what I'm using for my socket connection. It's a 2.5. Back in the days when I didn't have a stripping tool, you see what was the result of my cables right there. See how the cables were looking like, as if I was stripping with I was cutting with a kitchen knife. So with this, it makes things super easier for me. So just cutting that part that I don't want. When it comes to earthing, very important. If again you have been watching me, you know that I take earthing with a lot of weight. We'll also be learning more when it comes to determining best practices of earthing. Now here I must use you know, I must put to work what we have also used right there in our radio connection, which is definitely a draw wire, or basically a steel tape, so that we are able to, you know, to draw the cable all the way from the consumer unit to the first socket. And then we also have the draw wire here, and then have the cables connected here. So probably first of all I will start at this particular point. If you're finding value out of our today's live session, top boss, don't just go without giving me a like. I will really appreciate. That is all I'm asking. And if you have not subscribed to my channel, kindly subscribe so that you don't miss any episode that I put out. And whenever we have these sessions, you will always find an alert. Now, if I want to draw cables at this point, and I'm at this point as well, which one is the easiest way for me to draw cables? Going with the gravity, it will be so easy for me to start from above, pulling cables downwards. But if I fight gravity by pulling cables upwards, that is from this section to be tough for me. So the good thing about the ring is that I have so many choices. At this particular point, I can have the steel tape go all the way and then draw cables here, and then I will simply work with the gravity, pull them down. So using this steel tape, what you see here is sort of a hook. So I will insert it here. This is very fast. It will go all the way through the corners. Let me not be so selfish. Then when it gets to this corner, as you can see, I've not done this angle here properly. Now what I do is to, assuming that one is in a slab, the good thing is that if it's in a slab, it will not come out. But what is missing here is a saddle. I need to have a saddle at this particular point. Hope I get it as fast as I can, because I have a lot of tools here. Don't think I will, but just bear with me. Now, if I have that, that is something that happens. So what you do, you have so many attempts, you know, ensuring that the tape goes through. You must have so many attempts, even as you encounter the challenges, you know, you keep, it is already down here. It's already here. I didn't know, I didn't see it. So it's there, right? So we have it there already. Mahmoud says, I really enjoy your work, my best teacher. Thank you so much. So once it is at this particular point here, my top boss, what we do, the cables that we want to use, you know, we have this one, and we also have the neutral, and we have the face or the live connection cable. So it makes our work easier. What we need to do, if at all the cables are not going far, you simply, let me just bring my camera closer. Thank you for the likes, I see you. So what we have here, my top boss, is a closer look. That so we have this one. So for this one, all we need to do is to attach, now have these cables go through like that. You can simply have them go inside that hook like so, especially if it is not a long distance. But again, another important thing, once you've done that, don't know whether you've seen that I've just done there, you make the cables, let me just repeat, now that we have this as a hook, now we make the cables go through like so, and then on this other cable goes like that, then finally the neutral or the black cable goes like that. Then using our insulation tape, just bind them so that we don't waste time around the corners or where we have a coupler. So when you have so many cables, you really need to improvise, whereby you connect just the way I've showed you. So now we go to the exercise of we pull and we push. All right, that is what you are going to do next, my top boss. If you are liking the today's session, please give me a like. I will appreciate that. So from here, my friend from the other room, I communicate with him. Are you ready? Yes, I'm ready. Okay, we pull and then he pushes. Johnson, push. And then I pull, push, pull. So this is John on this side, and then this is Johnson. This is Johnson, then this is John. John, I'm John. So Johnson, push, John, pull. Johnson, push, John, pull. Johnson, push, John pulls. Johnson, and then we communicate like that. Okay, push. And on this side, I pull, push. This side, I pull. We have the cables here. Let us give them some allowance. Okay. Okay, again. We are good now. Again, remember at that particular point, we give it very, very good allowance just so that we can have room for future repairs. Any cuttings that will happen on this cable, any arcings that will happen so that the cable needs to, part of it replaced, it will not compromise on um, the cable, so that, because some mistakes will cost the customer to have to replace the entire cable, but if you have given them a good allowance, that is good. So I always emphasize that you make use of the entire room in the consumer unit. There's a very good space inside there. Play along with the cable, so I can prefer to go all the way down before I can come to this particular point, which is our these connections here. These are these are neutral bars, where you can connect neutral cables from different circuits there. So we have that. When it comes to the connection at the MCBs, it has to go all the way down. So I'll still make use of that room, and then it goes all the way here. When it comes to the earth connection, we have an earth bar here. But again, my top boss, instead of what's the name of those wires? That is a very good question from our top boss. So you see, we have an earth bar here, right? So this one is a very closer point for us to connect this earth connection. Now, if we say we connect it directly here, what if in future it is cut and it is reduced? You then will really have to compromise on that, meaning that you'll have to ask your customer to go back to the pocket and purchase the whole set. It probably could be a lot of meters, and you don't want to use joints. So myself, I will wire it as if I'm using this bar that is on the far end, so that it gives me an allowance, to come all the way here. But again, I can fold it inside the consumer unit and then connect it at this point, assuming that I don't want, the consumer unit to look poorly done by connecting it like so. I can as well bring it here, then connect it all the way. It all depends on the circuits that you have and how you play along with this consumer unit. Remember, the end goal is to ensure that you have a neatly done consumer unit, so that even that person person who does not understand electrical installation will find it easier to come and do maintenance work within the shortest period of time. Now, there are other people who make a mistake where you even see cables which are not the like colors in very, very unfamiliar places. A cable like this one should not or should never be found in this earth bar unless it is color coded. What do I mean by color coding? If it is a red cable that you had and you want to use it as an earth connection, there is no problem as long as you color it. How do you color code it? Have you ever heard of such a term? Now, when earthing, we in our country would use green. Now, by color coding, what I mean is simply have this insulation tape and then you tape the entire cable so that you communicate that this one is no longer a phase cable, but it is an earth cable. I've color coded it. That is why I'm using it at this particular point, and these cables are that color. So you have to communicate that by simply color coding. You don't need to tell the customer what you have done. They don't care. It doesn't concern them. They will not even remember what you told them. So that will be a waste of your time and their time. Simply color code, and the next electrician who will come will understand. When I was starting in this practice, a good friend of mine by the name Willie told me that when you are carrying out electrical installations, carry it out in a very simple manner, assuming that you will not be the one who will be called to conduct an electrical repair work, maintenance work. But that person who will have the privilege or the honor to come and do the electrical installations or repairs in that particular work that you have done will find it easy. That is how you know that you're doing a good job. All right. That was incredible. So let us continue. Just wanted you to clearly see that part. And I'm so glad because you are fast learners, you have definitely mastered that. So that is what we have, my top boss. When it comes to going on, we just have some sip of water. As we have said, from this point, have wired until this point here. And so having given an allowance for our cables here, don't worry about how they look. We shall definitely arrange them in a proper way. Now, my top boss, we have to cut these cables at this particular point. Now from the consumer unit coming all this way, we cut, all right? So remember, this is now we are at the ring circuit connection where we say the ring circuit starts at the consumer unit, goes all the way to the sockets and then back. So we will have to cut it. Again, remember, we really need to give an allowance so that in the event that someone needs to replace a socket, they will have no problem doing that. Now, allow me also, just like we did with the radio circuit connection, not to use this draw wire or the tape because of that distance, so that we can as well save some time, all right? So we can save some time on that. And so we'll connect the other set of cables. We connect the set of cables from this particular point here. We say that we need to work with the gravity, right? So we don't fight gravity as physicists. So we make it easier. You know, the gravity is assisting us to carry out this installation. Now what you see here this cable at the end here, we have enough, we have given enough allowance, and also here we have also given enough allowance before we can actually go ahead and cut. So I cut, so cut like so. Also from this socket or from this single switch box to this twin or double switch box, I introduce a cable. So it will simply start from here as well, going all the way. That is what we have, given an allowance as well. Then we can cut. Yes. So if you're already learning something, my top boss, especially if you're from Kenya, in a different campus, than what we are used to, different colleges, smash that like button and show some love for today's session. Let me see your likes, my top boss. So let me just go through some of your wonderful comments. Mahmoud says, what's the name of those wires? We have single cables, stranded, 2.5 stranded cables. And then Deobras Tush says, wow, thank you. Miklia Charisma says, here in Namibia, we call those wires house wiring, all right. Refasi Mr. Ward says, Mr. Man, watching you from Zambia, you really make my day. Thank you so much, Mr. Ward. Hendrik says, RK Zambia learning, incredible. Muhammad Trent says, I need your WhatsApp number, my best teacher. My WhatsApp number is +254 +254. I don't know if someone can be able to write there. I don't have a moderator at the moment. 711-3434-12. So we have a bend here. We must figure out how to get this bend so that we have our cables from here all the way back to the consumer unit. Remember, that is the difference between a ring circuit and a radio circuit. The radio circuit has one-way journey from the consumer unit, which is the source, all the way to the various power points or the sockets to the last one. That's it. When it comes to the ring circuit, it starts from the source, the consumer unit, goes all the way to the first socket, the second socket. The second socket loops or gives power to the third one. Does that make sense? I don't know. And then it goes back to the consumer unit. What are the advantages? You're going to see that in a few, but let me be done with that connection. So I think I will have my camera come back a little bit so that you can see the whole set. All right. My father is late, but I'm quite sure he's proud of me. Nice and neat work, sir. That is Peter Kiprono. Peter Kiprono, are you in Kenya currently? Thank you so much. I really do appreciate when I see my country people, watching their own, supporting their own. It means a lot. It's not easy for someone to support you, especially when it comes to content creation. People hate so much, and in other channels I've been fighting with a lot of haters, sometimes having to block them. Now we don't want to fight gravity again when it comes to this. What we do is we have two choices. We can either have the steel tape going through here, and then we connect our cables and pull from here. That way we will at least be working in harmony with gravity, so it will make our work easier. But if we have our tape going from here, this switch box, this twin switch box, and then we have our cables here, no, that is the other, this is the best way, because we will be pulling against, you know, with the gravity. So if you have it here, you insert it at the consumer unit, and then you connect your cables here, and then you start drawing like this. You know, you are going against the gravity. At the end of the day, you will find that you are tired for nothing. You are tired for no reason. We don't want to do that. You're not ignorant. We are electricians. We are physicists. Okay? So, because we are not ignorant, this is what you're going to do. Simply connect our cables here. We have our steel tape there. Then, with our cables, we have the face. My top boss was asking me about the names that we give to these cables, and I've already answered. Uh, uh, hmm. Karanja Maina says from Kenya, I think I spotted you in Thika today. Please confirm. Absolutely, Karanja. Yes, you are right. I'm watching live from Ghana, Tamale. That is from Lord Bob. Thank you. Thank you. Good to hear from you, Karanja. You are very keen. You indeed spotted me. You are right. So my cables are here. Have my cables here. As usual, we said we have the neutral, the face, and we also have the earth connection, right? The neutral, the face, the earth connections. Aha, so first of all, cut that, strip, no, give it an allowance like so. You also strip the face cable. We strip the earth cable. Easy peasy, like that. No damage on the strands. Cool. That's said and done. We now go to our steel tape. Insert the earth connection there. Remember, we have a bend that we must take care of. So this connection here must be well done so that the cables don't come out of the tape as we draw. Karanja, why didn't you say hi? No, I meet a lot of top bosses who greet me. Lord Bob says I'm an electrical student. Good. Aha. Yoram says watching from Dubai. Thanks for the class. Thank you so much. Appreciate you. So once we have it like so, again we go back to the insulating tape. You know, just ensure that everything is well done so that it not come out when we are fishing. I got that term from my Nigeria and Ugandan friends, fishing. So that this one is a fishing tape, right? So is it clear? Able to see it clearly? So you have someone at the consumer unit. Maybe the consumer unit is set at the corridor. Maybe it is at the kitchen, in the kitchen, you know, wherever it is. But we are quite sure that we have that connection. Now we have someone at the consumer unit, probably in the kitchen. We tell them, you know what, make sure that you balance it so that you redirect the cables all the way to the conduit, and then ensure that you make sure that the cables are well straightened up, you know. And then what you now do is we coordinate. So if I tell you to push, all you need to do is to push on this side and I pull. So assuming this is Karanja at the meter box, oh sorry, at the consumer unit, Karanja is pushing, and John on the other side. Probably this one is a socket at the dining. So we are communicating. Pull, push, pull, push. Okay, let's go. Push, pull. You know, the other side. In the what do you call it? So you straighten a bit them a bit. You tell the other guy. You tell John to wait. You know, this is Karanja in the kitchen, where the consumer unit is, but we don't advise to design it in such a manner that it should be in the kitchen. Remember, in the kitchen, there is a lot of cooking, a lot of steam, a lot of oil, a lot of evaporation. So it might compromise our connection here. But have it in somewhere whereby there will not be any contact with moisture, especially at the corridor area or even in the sitting room or the dining. Don't have a lot of things going on there. So John finally instructs Karanja, the cables are here, but to give them an allowance for future maintenance work. And then Karanja on the other side obliges and pushes a little bit, and they agree that that is the best distance, and they can now cut the cables. Once the cables are there, they can be cut. Remember, this is the face, can be connected at the bottom part. So you just measure like so. At the end of the consumer unit, cut like that, right? So you have the earth connection. As we said, you take the bar, the earth bar that is far end, and then just connect it like so, so that in future, even when things go bad and this cable is really reduced, you also have the option here, as we saw that there is a bar here, there is an earth bar there. Then for the neutral, we say that the neutral bars have been set to be at this point. There's no way that you can disconnect the neutral and have them suspended simply because you want to connect your cable. You simply connect the cable from this end all the way to the far end of the consumer unit, so that you make good use of that room, so that you have longer cables or longer lengths connected there. And then you simply come back here and remove that steel tape, so that what you are remaining with is only the cables. So that is what you have, right? All right. So my talk boss, let me just take you through what we've been able to achieve today, and so that we are at par. I appreciate the likes that I've already gathered from you, my top boss. Thank you. It means a lot to me. So what we've been able to do is we have two sets of connection, socket connection. We have the ring here, we have radio connection. Now, splitting our cables here, what we have, for me to make you understand, is that, and we also have this. So it's like we are splitting our consumer unit, into two, like this at this point. So you have a set of sockets here. We have a set of sockets on this side. You may notice that this one is forming kind of a loop all the way from the consumer unit all the way to the sockets and then back, a loop. So that loop is translated to a ring. That is why it is referred to as a ring circuit. It is something that is continuous. From the consumer unit, you may choose to come from here, this being the start, goes to the first socket, second socket, third socket, and then back. You can see the cables are intact. And when it comes to radio, from the consumer unit to the first socket feeds the second socket feeds the third. Now, that is how it is done. Now, my top boss, allow me with all due respect to carry over from there uh, in our next session, so that we will be fitting the various electrical fittings here, be it the sockets, the single sockets, be it the twin sockets, as well as using what we refer to as ferrules, and our very important tool here, which is a crimping tool. It will be super interesting for you to learn about it. If, for instance, you are a student, I have so many top bosses who are students, learning. So we'll be using this one. Today, I've already demonstrated the good use of this important tool here, which is a cable stripper. Ensure that you have it, and we have learned a bit about it. So in our next session, we will wire the sockets, twin sockets, and the single sockets, as well as dedicate that the various circuits to the MCBs. This is a session that you will not want to miss. Another important thing is that we will test individual circuits with a multimeter, a digital multimeter. Now, this is where uh, troubleshooting begins. We will also test before we commission that circuit, before we say that that circuit is safe and we can switch on the MCB that is dedicated to that circuit. We will first of all test it with a multimeter. Which are the variables that we'll be looking forward to, and where will be the calibration that we will be going with on our digital multimeter? All right, so that is what we will do, and then ensure that we have done a perfect, neat job and have that connection perfectly working. All right, so we will be doing that. I have top bosses here saying, Lord Bobo says, I love your teaching and I learn so many things from you. Thank you so much. And then I have Hendrik says, we are still with you until late. Thank you so much, RK Zambia. Lord Bob says, I followed you on TikTok too. Thank you. Thank you. It means a lot when you do that. Peter Kiprono, my top boss, how much is that draw wire, please? I think it's around, is it 250? Somewhere about there. Yes. Watching from Nigeria, that is Karim. Thank you so much. So the next session, allow me to take a rest, and then I will, in the next session, we will definitely wire it to completion. I will also be sharing the advantages and disadvantages of these various type of connections. We will also introduce something here called a spa. It will be interesting. The coming sessions are very interesting. You don't want to miss. I will also be doing a lot when it comes to, testing, troubleshooting. It is something that most of you have asked. Will be troubleshooting various problems. You say, we make up a problem and then we troubleshoot using the digital multimeter, and then we fix it together. So thank you so much. If you are watching this video as a recorded version and you've probably not subscribed, kindly subscribe so that you don't miss an episode. Thank you so much for you, my top boss, who has been here streaming live with me. It means a lot, and I really do appreciate your company, your interactions with this live session. Thank you for the likes that you've already given me. And for those who have subscribed to my channel, I really do appreciate. And for my top bosses that we normally interact on other platforms like TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, name it, I really do appreciate. Goodbye for now. My name is John Gatehi, and this is Top Heights Electricals and Electricians. See you in the next one.